the Flex Network. This is the Flex Network. Flex on them. Flex on everybody. This right here is the Flex Network. Yeah. Flex on the G. Flex.
Oh, yes, my friends, my family, my viewers who are fewer than they should be because we are live. We're just getting into it. So welcome everybody to the Flex Network. I am Matt, of course, Michael on the other edge of the world, halfway through. But today we are talking Money in the Bank. Okay. In my opinion, one of the better pay-per-views that WWE has. Every year I look forward to it. I don't know if it's the gimmick of the match, kind of like TLC. I'm not too sure if that's why I like it. I think I just like ladder matches in general. I think I really like the idea of a build-up of somebody climbing up that ladder and then just kind of what's going on? Who is it going to happen? Is it not? And I think I also really appreciate the pay-per-view because this really sets the tone, like Royal Rumble does for WrestleMania. This really sets the tone for the rest of the year. Whoever is victorious and wins the Money in the Bank briefcase will get essentially, based off statistics, a guaranteed title change, based off the statistics. Now, I believe there was one time Baron Corbin, I believe, did not win his cash in. And I believe also Michael, what's that? Damian Sandow? Is that who it was? Or is there another person that did not have a successful cash in? Is this something that you remember at all, or?
I believe Damian Sandow had a unsuccessful cash in, and then there was one other person. Did you say Baron Corbin already?
Yeah, it was Baron. Yeah.
Baron Corbin didn't have a successful one, but I know that it was just those two, I believe.
Yeah, well, and outside of those two guys, it is all but guaranteed a successful switching of the titles, which in our opinion is great for TV, great for storylines. We're moving along, getting characters developed, getting as we saw on SmackDown this week, Ricochet. Essentially kind of said like, hey, I'm one of the favorites to win this briefcase. And I think that realistically, you're going to build Ricochet. I mean, this is a perfect way, if he were to win, that you could build his character and really say, hey, he might not be where they want him to be right this second, but he has enough fire, enough juice to say, hey, if they took one whole year of developing my character, I have this Money in the Bank briefcase, I'm going to cash it in. He might cash in here, there. What if he has the Money in the Bank briefcase and then also wins the Royal Rumble? What if something like that were to happen? That's something that's really crazy. And I don't think that's ever been done, and what if, that would just give this guy a real head of steam. I'm also really, really, really interested in the women's Money in the Bank match every single year. I think, getting these girls out there and not girls, women athletes out there and really getting them into these kind of matches where, it wasn't until, in my eyes, Sasha and Charlotte were in the Hell in the Cell that you really didn't see women in these type of matches on a more prominent stage. I'm elated to watch these women just progress through and through and through and through. They're getting better every day. And their match in my eyes is every single time's almost something that I would rather more watch. I'm more invested in the storyline. For instance, Lacey Evans, love her. I think she's fantastic, and I am so involved in wanting to watch her wrestle Becky Lynch for the title, the Raw Women's title. Getting to that, Becky Lynch defending both titles in one day. This right here is a potential disaster. Okay. What happens if Becky goes over both Charlotte and Lacey Evans in the same day? I think that just murders their characters, murders their strength. I'm talking Lacey and Charlotte. The first one to lose, I don't know that it's going to be that hurtful. That's the first one. But now Becky is down. Even though she's won, she's down. And now she has to come as a tired Becky Lynch into another strong superstar. And I do not have the lineup in front of me, so I'm not too sure who is coming first. But if she runs through both of them in the same day, that is that is definitely going to be something that is probably not going to be very good for those ladies. Something that I think maybe I'm sleeping on is Seth Rollins and AJ Styles. Pretty typically the WWE does not do very good on these singular pay-per-views. It feels like there might not be that much leading up to it, or there might not be that much passion the fans have to watch some of these matches, but I feel like they've done really well. AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, that's a match everyone wants to watch. That's a match we've been watching for a long, long time. And or we've been wanting to watch for a long, long time, and we're gonna get it this Sunday, and I think that's a very underwhelming top match of the night. Same thing with the emotional involvement. And Michael, I'll just continue this here and finish it, and then let you come in. But we got Miz versus Shane McMahon. Another one that WWE has done well. They're going to put him in a cage. They've done well with this storyline. They've done well with keeping my interest into it. So now that is definitely a match that I am excited about. To the contraire, on the other side, I don't know how excited I am about Elias Roman. I don't know that again, the storyline is too amazing there. I think with Roman bouncing back and forth and all that hoopla about the whatever rule Vince McMahon is allowing, I'm not too sure that I'm into that. Samoa Joe, Rey Mysterio, again, not really. I know that the storyline is good on that one. I'm just not that into it. Kofi Kingston and Kevin Owens, that's going to be a great one. I'm definitely into that one. So Michael, let's get through this here. To be honest, I don't want to spend a ton of time with the Elias Roman and the Samoa Joe, Rey Mysterio. And so I think we should just start with those two and just get the picks rolling, see what we got going on that, and then let's get into some of these real good storyline matches that we want to, dictate.
Right. So like you have the I just want to kind of backtrack for a second, but just say that I'm with you with the overall excitement of the Money in the Bank pay per view. I think it's pretty cool because you got the briefcase. You could cash in. I'm not sure if they give them like a full calendar year or what it is, but it seems like within a year everyone cashes in. So I'm pretty sure there's like a stipulation with that. But I would say that it's just the excitement of it is knowing that you're kind of like on the edge of your seat at every pay-per-view saying like, oh, is this when he's going to cash in? Is this when he's going to cash in? Like no one knows. So that's pretty cool. I mean, we've obviously seen the ultimate cash in, which was Seth Rollins at WrestleMania a few years back. Um, I mean, I don't really think that you're going to beat that cash in, but who knows? Um, and then just the idea of like some of these matches, I'm with you where you kind of talk about the Rey Mysterio Samoa Joe. Doesn't seem like it could be very exciting. Um, I believe they had a chance to have a match at was it WrestleMania? They had a match, but Rey Mysterio was hurt, and so it was kind of like a squash situation. It ended pretty quickly. Um, the actual what is it? Elias and Roman Reigns seems like it could be a good match in the future, but right now it doesn't look like it's going to be anything that is very exciting. So I look at that match as kind of, you know, in other pay-per-views you would say, "Oh, this is a filler match." Bring out this guy and they're going to wrestle for 10 minutes. That's kind of how I think
So
this
you
match is
just
going to
called
go.
Roman Reigns a filler match?
No, I'm just saying the way that the match is, and it's not a Roman Reigns thing, is I think it's much more of an Elias thing because they spent so much time building what he is, playing the guitar and all of that stuff, that they haven't spent enough time really getting him wrestling on TV. And that's just one thing that I've noticed. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, dude. I don't know if people hate Elias, but I like his character. I like kind of where he's going and stuff like that. I would just like to see him in a better feud. Him feuding with Roman Reigns doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. I
In
would like
my
to see.
eyes, it makes sense, but it's like it makes sense because to me, those are your top two guys. Like
Right.
that's the only reason why it makes sense to me. Outside of that, I'm not really tied into the story. I mean, maybe Elias is saying, "Hey," I mean, that is the story. Vince McMahon called me, or called me up to be the best superstar ever to SmackDown. That's what that was in his promo this weekend, and that was that was fine. It's just I don't know. I wish that this is just something that everybody's talking about WWE right now. It's just there's not enough correlation. There's not enough build. These characters are just being thrown into these matches week after week where there's nothing that ties these guys together outside of the main feuds, but then some of these other outside matches that they just put together, and I'm just not into it. I'm not I don't know. It's the WWE is not doing very good right now. And then with the announcement, Bullet Club on the shirt. That's bad for radio, what I just said there, but no one could
Right.
see that. But
It's okay. It's okay.
AEW officially is on TNT. TNT is officially back in the pro wrestling business, and that was what their tweet had said today. We all woke up to that news, and for the wrestling community, since the Attitude Era, there has not been, or not Attitude Era, excuse me, since the Monday Night Wars, there has not been this type of buzz, this type of announcement. And we're talking that's forever, that's like 15, 20 years. Okay. So we're saying in 15 to 20 years, pro wrestling itself has not had a mega announcement and or a mega, you know, um, just this buzz, and I've been really touting this to all of the people that I know that used to watch wrestling a lot. Like if you watched it like I watched it as a kid back in the Attitude Era, this time right now that has been going on, I would say since like the last 2.5, 3 years in pro wrestling, has been the best it's been since the Monday Night Wars. And it almost feels like we're going to get another Monday Night War, not really a war on the same day, but, between two, rival companies. And Cody Rhodes is just phenomenal what he's doing. There's been a lot of there's been a lot of talk, which has been really cool and just awesome. And they talked about how Dusty Rhodes got brought to the WWE monster and he got put in polka dots, and just had the worst fucking gimmick you could ever imagine. And for a guy that was just completely amazing in every way. And, it almost felt like a big FU. And, this is the revenge. This is it. His son comes back around later after they did the same shit to him. Almost. They gave him a shitty gimmick when he got in. He did the best he could with it and realized, man, I'm worth more than this. I can change the world. He goes out there and he does it. 20 years it's been since you have been buzzing about wrestling, pro wrestling like this. And it's just phenomenal. So I just want to say congratulations to those guys. My picks, don't care about the Roman Elias match. The only way that Roman loses is if there's somebody that comes in and doesn't make him lose too clean, or it's a dirty loss. Other than that, I think Roman wins. And then Samoa Joe probably. I don't think you can give the title to Ray right now. I think there's so much more to do with Samoa Joe and that they want to do. There's just no good storyline for him. So boom, boom, Roman Reigns, Samoa Joe, take that to the bank. No pun intended.
Yeah, one of the things that I would say on the whole AEW topic is, um, I have said this in the past. It's just kind of one of those things that, like, as a consumer of the product, whether it's WWE or AEW, or even back in the day when it was WWE and WCW, it's good. If you're a wrestling fanatic, if you love wrestling and it's one of your favorite things, and personally, I've been watching wrestling since I want to say the Ultimate Warrior days. I've been watching for quite a while. Consistently over the past couple of years, I've been watching more. But just one of the things I would say is, like, man, this is such a good thing for, like, the consumer, the fan of wrestling. The fact that there's two major promotions with two major TV deals. You now have an option to say, oh, am I going to watch Raw or SmackDown, or am I going to watch AEW on whatever day it's going to be on? I'm sure AEW will come out with a name
It's
of
on
their show.
Tuesdays. It's
On
on
Tuesdays,
Tuesdays.
okay.
Also, what was awesomely announced is that it's completely involved with Bleacher Report. So Bleacher Report's been getting their name out incredibly in the sporting community. It seems like they do everything right. It seems like they also don't just report like garbage. Like garbage content. It seems like they got the right writers, they got the right guys. And so Bleacher Report's app will be streaming Double or Nothing, which is AEW's pay-per-view next Saturday. And I
For free
believe
or for a charge?
no, not free.
I was gonna
No.
say, what the?
No, but I believe it's available through there. I believe it's available on pay-per-view, and I believe it's also I think that's it. Yeah, but
Okay,
it's gonna be awesome.
so what do you say we go through match by match here? I got a list here.
Yep.
And
So who do you got? You got Roman and
well, let's run down this list real quick, and then that match is like right here. So let's just run down this list
I
real
pretty
quick.
much already ran down the list while you were not here. So yeah.
I
So
was having
let's just
some
make
some issues or whatever.
let's
But
just make your picks and then let's go next on the list.
okay, so let's just Seth Rollins, AJ Styles.
That's next.
No, I'm just saying I'm going down the list that I have. So let's just use this list and go down the list.
Okay, so Seth Rollins can't lose the belt. No
Yeah,
way.
there's no way. There's no way. I think it'll be very competitive, and AJ Styles will be up for a little bit and have some high moments and some what do they call those, false finishes and all of that. But I think when it comes down to it, I think Seth Rollins will win. And if they wanted to make AJ Styles look strong, they could have someone interfere to set up a future feud or something like that. But
So let's actually get to that because that's probably the match that I see where if someone's interfering, it's going to be big news, right? Like that's a title shot, coming up. That's a couple months of a feud that you can get through. But like I feel like this happened kind of not too long ago where the title holder was in a feud or like starting a feud, and then the money in the bank holder obviously has to go and feud. And so it's like sometimes that intermittent feud doesn't seem too real, because let's say they pulled out some real crazy shit and Bray Wyatt came out and fucking did some shit, right? Like that character is amazing right now. We have no idea what's going on, and we really feel like you and I have talked about this. Like we feel like that's a championship run waiting to happen. And
Oh,
so
for
like
sure.
if they did, do you think they'd be wasting somebody running in during that match? Because the whole idea of the Money in the Bank is that that's kind of the overarching feud that kind of happens. So it feels like sometimes after Money in the Bank, I feel like, well, if it's not the Money in the Bank person feuding with the title holder, then it's just simply not like a watchable feud to believe that these guys are gonna at all drop the belt before the Money in the Bank guy comes. What do you think?
I don't know, man. I mean, I just feel like that whole character that they're doing with Bray Wyatt, they have, as many times as we as fans can criticize what WWE has done over the years with different characters and spots and just times where you feel like this guy should have went over that guy, or they should have went this direction with that storyline. Bray Wyatt is one of the ones that they have done a very good job at, and that's just my personal opinion. But um, I would just say that I feel like they've done a very good job with Bray
It's
Wyatt, and
polarizing.
yeah, it's like, and here's the thing. The thing is, he has the ability to be polarizing because of his mic skills. There's no one like him in the WWE currently. Um,
The only
his
thing
rest
closest would be Aleister Black,
right, but
who cut a
he's
good
not.
promo, who cut a great
Yeah,
promo.
on what was that, on
SmackDown.
Raw or SmackDown?
SmackDown.
Yeah, SmackDown. He had a good promo. You're right.
But really, he's not close to Bray. You're right. Like Bray,
No,
I
no,
mean,
Bray's standalone by himself.
Bray's
The
main
only
eventing against Undertaker, like that's a big stone for the company to give to a guy.
right. So I kind of look at it like he's alone on the mic skills ever since Enzo Amore left WWE. There's not really anyone that could go toe to toe with Bray on the mic. Um, but that's just, he is good. And I feel like WWE has like an overarching, like, hey, this is kind of the direction we want to go, but let's have a conversation about it because I'm sure you have tons of good ideas. And so Bray Wyatt is very good with that kind of, like, I don't even know how to describe it. The whole Wyatt family was that like hillbilly type
His
of, like,
creativity.
yeah, just the creativity. Yeah, of course, the creativity of it is great. And so I think they really trust him on that. And it's hard to find that because there's not a lot of storylines that you can do within the walls of WWE that where they will say, "Hey, just what do you think about this, or what do you think about that?" Because usually it's like, "Hey, you're gonna do this, you're gonna lose this match, or you're gonna win this match, and this is how it's gonna happen." Normally they take that road, but with Bray Wyatt, he's so good on the mic, he could tell such a kind of crazy story, that he is able to kind of, oh, we could go this direction, we can go left, we can go right, we can go down this path or that path. And so it's just interesting to see. This Seth Rollins AJ Styles match is like the perfect match for him to kind of show up. Like, it just goes dark, and then all of a sudden he shows up in the middle of the ring, and then they're both there, and he both ruins both of them. It's a DQ. Seth Rollins keeps his title, but Bray Wyatt looks strong and embarrasses both of them. So
Or I think maybe this might be better is if he shows up but he doesn't do anything at all. Shows up, goes dark, Lights, camera, action, back to the ring. He's there. Dark. Camera on again, gone. And just like, fuck. And then he would just start
Yeah.
terrorizing people, like, and doing that shit, just running rampant through the whole entire WWE. And you never even fucking see him in a match for tons of time.
Yeah. That would be cool for
That
sure.
would be super cool. And then it's like also, man, okay, so I'm gonna talk about this right now. I'm gonna say, okay, Seth Rollins, easy to go. Is that your pick, or I think that was your pick, right?
Yeah, I think Seth Rollins wins.
So let's real quick talk about the surprise that Sami Zayn is in the Money in the Bank ladder match, and Braun Strowman's out. And I keep saying this. I've said it.
So real quick, explain that for people who didn't get a chance to watch Raw or SmackDown, just to kind of know how that goes.
Yeah, so he basically just challenged him. He just said, "Hey, if I'll beat you, I'll take your place in the Money in the Bank ladder match." And of course, Braun Strowman said yes. Then you had was it Baron Corbin or no, Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre? I forget who it was. Baron Corbin. It was Drew McIntyre that did most of the damage. So of course, like they're setting that feud up, and that's great. But he hit him with the nasty Claymore. They put him through a ladder, and then they all jumped on Sami Zayn while he pinned him and took his place in the ladder match. A big blow to Braun Strowman. I mean, just be real. They don't know what the fuck they are doing with Braun Strowman, and so they're basically just saying, okay, well, he's just not hot right now. Sammy's hot. Might as well use him while he's hot. Then he shows up on SmackDown, realigns with KO, and that's a good way to go. But I only wanted to talk about this because if Bray Wyatt comes back and turns Braun Strowman back into this fucking Wyatt family monster, I'm back in. And so would everybody else. Not only would you be back in, but you can get Braun off the ring for a long time. You can have it be all about fucking Bray Wyatt, and then Braun can come back and be great. And that's just something that I want to see. What about do you think that that's
I think you have the perfect opportunity to have Bray Wyatt, and then if you do go and to me, you don't take Braun Strowman and bring him back to like a Wyatt family type situation unless you're prepared to bring whoever it is, Eric Rowan or
Luke
what's that?
Harper?
Well, Luke Harper's been released, or he
No,
requested
he's
his
not
release.
released. No, he requested, they denied.
Okay. Okay. So you could bring that whole family back together. And then also another thing I think is a perfect pairing is Nikki Cross as a sister Abigail, which is a potential thing that they could do. And you really have an opportunity to make WWE's next stable. Which
And they
is
were
just
already a good
interesting by
stable.
itself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was good. And my only thing is Nikki Cross with Alexa was really good to me on Monday Night Raw. So I'm like excited to see that. What's the next match in our rundown? Is it any tag team matches I just want to blow through right now because I'm not interested?
No. Let's go ahead and go Kofi Kingston as a champion versus Kevin Owens. And so some of the things that happened, if you remember, Owens was like the kind of like sub in member of New Day, and he was kind of all
Big
on
O.
board with Big O. He was all on board. He was dancing. He was having a good time, and then just one day he just turned on him and attacked him, and ever since then it's been well, I guess he turned on Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. He super kicked um Xavier Woods and then power bombed him on the ring apron, which is kind of like his go-to heel move, I feel like. Um, so I personally believe that Kevin Owens is like the best heel that the WWE has. He's so good at that role and what he does. Um, I think that this is kind of a bold prediction. I don't know if it'll be true or not, but I think Kevin Owens wins and takes the title.
That's bold. Okay. Okay. That's a way to differentiate yourself. Um, I just think that Kevin Owens is one of those dudes that can carry his character and his presence without being and be defeated to where you don't look at his loss as something that just destroys his character. We already know he has the KO show, which can always be ran on SmackDown. Sami Zayn just came back, and now they can do a lot of stuff together, especially if they end up going up against Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan, which to me that seems like something that they could do and would be an easy way to go. I'm all in on KO pretty much at all times. And I will say the greatest time I've had probably in the last forever, as far as a title run, has been KO's title run. KO's title run, where he did the Festival of Friendship and all that stuff with Chris Jericho, was phenomenal. And
That
so
was the best turn of all time, by the way, when he turned on Chris Jericho.
everything was great about it. And it was just something where, hey, I can give the belt to KO at any time. And so
Yeah.
it could happen. I'm going to say again, too early. I would like to see Kofi maybe lose this and then continue the feud with KO, and then maybe a SummerSlam loss or even a Royal Rumble, if he's going to lose, or all the way to WrestleMania. Um, I think they're getting hammered right now, or they were getting hammered before WrestleMania about having a black champion. And then they're hammered recently with Lars Sullivan's comments, and a lot of people keep bringing stuff like that back up. And so I think
What did Lars Sullivan say?
to be honest, I forgot off the top of my head. So if you want to look it up, it's something kind of stupid and ridiculous where it's like legit old tweets that resurface, and I'm not a fan of like old tweets resurfacing. Um, First of all, not only can people change who they
Right.
are, okay, but
We talked about this in our last cast. I kind of brought up the whole Kevin Hart thing when he was supposed to host the Oscars, and he had to give it up because some old tweet surfaced. People can definitely change. People deserve a second chance, a second opportunity, whatever it is. So, um,
yeah,
whatever.
he got fined 100 grand. Okay. And
Lars Sullivan did.
yeah, exactly. Yep. And
Okay.
he probably already was fine, like everything that he has made in the last whatever, when he didn't show up, unless that was a shoot where he didn't show up for his NXT debut or whatever, which is crazy to me how that dude is still even around. But WWE is doing a good job at trying to save face and maintain their culture. Apparently, he posted on a message board. That's what it was. It was not. I'm trying to read this.
The only
Oh,
thing I would say is like, if he said something racist, like, personally, I don't think he deserves to be on television or in the spotlight in any way. And the other thing I would say is, if WWE was getting flack about having a black champion, who gives a crap about if the champion is black, white, brown, blue, purple? Like, I don't care. Like, that
well,
whole
you
thing
don't
is
care, but that's the thing. It may be the views of ownership that they care,
No,
and
I'm just
that's
saying
why
that that's
people are.
stupid. Whether it's a black guy who's champion, a white guy who's champion, a Mexican guy who cares? Like, the color of someone's skin or their race or whatever should not matter if, like, they're deemed worthy to be champion or whatever. I just think that that is just such a ridiculous thing. Without trying to get too political here, I
Okay,
just
here's
think
what
that
he
that's
said.
ridiculous.
He says some blacks want to take advantage of their great grandparents' misfortunes. They want a piece of the pity pie. Instead of taking some personal responsibility, they choose to attack the white man and say we must take care of them financially. That was one of the things that he said, which was a long time ago. And yes,
How long ago was it?
I don't know, but it was a long time ago. It wasn't it was a long time ago.
Okay.
So but I mean, it's not to say like that dude doesn't feel that way now. I mean, like,
Yeah, I just
you
think
have
that that's
racial comments, like,
unacceptable.
yeah, I mean, it is unacceptable, and I'm not condoning it, right? Never would I, but um you know, it's I don't think the dude is completely just KKK, hates white or hates black dudes,
Right.
all of them. He might be, but I feel like, the jury's out on it, and no one should just slain the dude for a certain comment. There's tons of comments I hear every day that I just brush off. White to black, black to white. It happens on both sides of the fences. So I just think we need to kind of calm down, and we also, in my eyes, need to calm down about peaking or picking up these old comments. I mean, dude, when I was a kid, 10 years ago, or 12 years ago, when I was, 18, there was a lot going on in my life. I said a lot of things. It's like, half of the things I said, I just said them. It's not like I feel
Yeah.
that a lot of
Well,
ways.
it's lucky that some of the things that either you said or I have said or anyone else were just said verbally as opposed to like putting them into like a status on Twitter or Facebook or
Right.
MySpace or whatever back in the day. So, um, you know, I we've talked about this before, but I used to play arena football, and so here in Texas, arena football is a little bit bigger, and there was a white guy. I belong to one of the message boards still, where they kind of talk about teams and what this guy's doing or what this owner's doing or whatever. And there's a guy on there who would use a white guy who used a word talking to a black guy that he definitely should never, ever, ever say in his entire lifetime. And so now he's he's like they're like, man, this guy can never play football again because people are gonna be headhunting for him because they know what he did. And so, it's just one of those things that, like, if you don't have a clear mind, you kind of, no matter what race you are, you can kind of go and say things you may not mean, or maybe you mean them, who knows. But um yeah, like I said, that's unacceptable. And if the WWE find him, then okay, he got punished. It is what it is, and
Yeah. I would
they're
like to just
obviously
see it play out
continuing
from
to.
here.
Yeah, they're just continuing to kind of push him. Obviously, they're doing some things with him, as far as him
He's
being
also
kind of
one
a
of the
group.
guys that I feel like Bray Wyatt and that dude, that's a
Oh, that'd be
scary team. Okay.
yeah, yeah, that'd
And
be
and if they
crazy.
wanted to do that, you could wreck the entire WWE. I mean, the only two guys I think that could bond together to beat those two guys are Braun Strowman and Drew McIntyre. That's about it. I mean, put Lars Sullivan in the gimmick with Bray Wyatt and really terrorize the entire WWE. That is money. Like, I would pay all my money to make sure that I was watching that on television or whatever I was doing.
Right.
So I got
Okay.
Kofi Kingston. Okay, you got KO.
Yeah, I took KO.
Big,
Like,
okay.
so if you
What's
were
next?
looking at it and you said you weren't thinking about it being too early, which I do feel like it's too early, but if I was looking at it just objectively without saying it's too early, I would say that Kevin Owens would win. But I do feel like it's too early. But the off chance that it's not, and they're just kind of taking it for what it is, and I would say KO. But next, let's go Raw Women's Championship. We got Becky Lynch as the champion. She's the double champ versus Lacey Evans.
yeah, so I said this when you left real quick, but if you have Becky win against both these girls in the same night, you destroy these girls. Like, there's no way Becky could beat. First of all, it took Becky quite a long time to beat Charlotte by herself. And now you're going to say she's going to go through one of them and be tired from a match and then come out later and win against the other. So I feel like she loses one of these belts. Depending on the match lineup, I'm cool with her going over on Charlotte. But I really want that belt in Lacey Evans's pocket. She
Oh, dude,
is the truth.
that would be so incredible. So on my list here, I got Becky Lynch back to back on these. I'm not sure if that's kind of how they would build the card or whatever, but I would say that she needs to beat Charlotte Flair, because if you think about how long Charlotte Flair has been on the main card, I'm not sure how many years it's been exactly, but it hasn't been very long. Um, she's already like a, I don't know, dude, like a 9-time champion or something crazy like that. Like, that's insane. Um, and so the only thing I would say is I think Becky should beat Charlotte Flair clean, like no dispute, just straight up beat her. And then I think that she should lose to Lacey Evans, and Lacey Evans should have the Raw Women's Championship. Because I'm like you, I'm with you. Like, Lacey Evans is good. Her
She's the
character is
truth.
her character is very unique. She's kind of like that classy lady. She's got that what's
The
that? Her
the
her
woman's rights. The
yeah, that
woman's
woman. Oh, dude,
that
that
is an
thing.
amazing. And here's the thing, like watching her hit that, it seems like she's just rocking these girls, and like it's believable. It makes Roman Reigns' Superman punch so not believable because she rocks these girls, and it feels like it's amazing to watch. I'm gonna tell you actually why I think Lacey's going over. Um, I think there's a secret feud that is kind of brewing. If you check Twitter a little bit or just kind of see some of the stuff that's going on, but Lacey's could take this title, and then not only that, but she can run with it. There's lots of girls on Raw that she can, play that she can wrestle and just have great matches, and then maybe the Money in the Bank, tries to come at her or something. But I would like. Okay, I'm gonna get into that later, but Charlotte and Andrade are a couple.
Yeah, they're
On a thing.
engaged.
Okay. Seth and Becky are a couple.
Right.
Okay. There could be a little mixed tag team action that you can play out at SummerSlam. You can have the feud run all the way through. You can even put both belts on the line. Whoever gets pinned wins or loses the belt during the match. That would be cool. Um, I'm just interested in that storyline. I feel like that could be one that could happen. So I'm really interested in that. So for that reason, I'm gonna go Becky over Charlotte, but then Becky loses to Lacey. Why also it'd be nice is if Lacey beat Becky to begin with, and then the crowd got behind Becky and in that second match against Charlotte, and then she beat Charlotte. So a nice come from behind victory. So you got Becky over Charlotte and then losing to Lacey as well, correct?
Right.
Okay, what's next?
Okay. Next is the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, featuring Ricochet, Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin, Finn Balor, Ali, Andrade, Sami Zayn, and Randy Orton.
Um, it's just the two Money in the Banks left, right?
Uh, no.
What else is out there?
Well,
Oh, we got Shane and Miz in the steel
yeah.
cage.
Then you got the tag teams. You got the cruiserweight. You got the
But the
women's tag team championship. There's more. So let's just go here.
ton more? Jesus Christ, what kind of they're going to turn this pay-per-view into one of those cycling big ones.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Well, we
Okay.
should wait for the Money in the Bank. The
Okay.
two
Yeah.
Money in the
Let's
Banks.
do that last. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do those two
Okay.
last. Okay. So
Cruiserweight, I don't care. I don't
yeah,
care.
yeah,
So we're going to X that
yeah,
off. We did that
yeah.
last
We're
time.
not. You and I are both kind of like with the cruiserweights. We're like whatever,
Yeah,
dude.
I'm not into
Okay.
it.
So what do we say with Roman Reigns versus Elias? I took
We already did
Roman.
that. So yeah, what's
Okay.
next?
Yeah. The Miz versus Shane McMahon in a steel cage match. So the idea with the Miz kind of moving around and all of that stuff is Vince McMahon had instituted the wild card rule, which is why you've seen Roman Reigns on both cards. You've seen the Miz on both, and whoever it's been, you've seen them on both because there are the wild card rule. And to be honest, I feel like this is the beginning of the brand split dying. Um, this is where the WWE feels like they can seamlessly transition into getting rid of the brand split and just having your best wrestlers on TV. Um, and I think that that's what you're going to have to do with the new competition of AEW. They're going to be AEW is going to be throwing everything they got, putting it on TV on Tuesdays, because AEW feels like, well, okay, we're on Tuesdays. If we can attack and absolutely destroy SmackDown in the ratings, then next all we got to do is come after Raw. Once we kill SmackDown, we're on our way. And I think that's honestly how they're thinking. And so, um, that whole wild card rule is a good thing. The brand split, I feel like, is dying. I'm not sure if it is or not exactly, but it kind of looks that way. So,
What
Miz
match are we at?
versus
Oh
Shane.
yeah, Miz
Miz
and
versus
Shane.
Shane. Go
Sorry,
ahead.
forgot about that. Go ahead. So what do you think?
I'm gonna take Miz on this one because Shane. Well, first to say, Miz looked extremely strong at WrestleMania against Shane. He ultimately, if you don't remember how that ended, it ultimately was he did the suplex and then off of the, I'm not sure what it was, but they had like climbed up this thing probably about 25 feet up, suplex off of that onto whatever it was down below. They landed. Miz's arm or Shane's arm was on top of Miz. Ref counted 1, 2, 3. Shane wins. Um, looked strong, was a way for Shane to win without Miz looking weak. Um, I think it's Miz's turn here because I think this is a feud that's going to go on all the way until next WrestleMania. I think they're trying to slow build this thing. And so as Shane and Miz attack each other and have this constant feud, I just think they're going to kind of trade blows back and forth all the way up to WrestleMania with the conclusion. But I think here you have Miz taking the victory in a steel cage match over Shane McMahon.
Yeah, I mean, 50-50 booking. That's what that's called. That's
Right.
called WWE picking one, going the next on the next day for the other, and then that's fine too. Although I would love to see Shane's or Miz's dad back. I would love to see something where Miz is trying to climb out the cage. Shane's trying to climb out the cage on the side. Miz's dad shows up, fucking pops him with the cage into the face, and then Miz climbs out on the
But
other side.
what he's got to do is, if you remember when Shane and Mrs. Dad went toe to toe, Mrs. Dad had those double under
Fucking Joe
fence.
Dirts.
Yeah, yeah, the Joe Dirt threes going. And so I would love to see him hit him with one of those nasty underhand uppercut type situations and just really rock him real quick.
I like that idea. That's a good idea. I
Yeah.
also am waiting for a huge high spot from Shane. As we all know, I think WWE's caught so much flack about being very abysmal, lowest ratings ever, like recently. And so I think this pay-per-view is deep and long and hard. That's what she said, because it has to be. because they need to go forward to the future. And I think Shane needs to high spot. I would love to see this match, honestly, as the very first match of the main card. I would
Oh,
love
that'd be
to.
incredible.
Oh yeah, I would love to start the night off like that. And so yeah, I'm gonna go Miz, but I would be happy to see Shane get the victory again and then have Miz really be tore down. But I think realistically they teased the feud between him and Daniel Bryan this week, and so I think they got to keep Miz strong going into it. Women's tag team up next.
Yeah. So you have the Iconics against we're right here against Asuka and Kairi Sane.
Do you have what they call themselves, the Kabuki,
Yeah,
the
it's
Kabuki some shit,
I
the Kabuki Killers? I'll
I don't
talk
have it
about it
here. I'm
while.
not sure what they call them, but you and I have talked. This Kairi Sane elbow drop from the top rope is the best elbow drop in professional wrestling.
It's great. It's phenomenal. Not only is it phenomenal, but I find it really, really difficult for the Iconics to come out of this the winners. I would really like to see something like, they've got Paige, so maybe somebody comes up and helps them as kind of a manager or something like that. I don't know, or somebody just to help their heel characters along. Because in order for the Iconics to win this match, they gotta heel win. It's got to be something. They got to cheat or something. I mean, Peyton Royce is there. Billy Kay's just not. And Asuka can't be having this forever long streak where she only loses to Becky and Charlotte and then loses to one of these ladies. I mean, they're electric, they're on fire. I don't want to see the Iconics lose the belts. I really don't, because I love the Iconics. I love them on the mic, but they can't deny Kairi Sane and Asuka right now. They are phenomenal, and I think it gives Paige more of a role now if they win, because lately it's just been like, feels like Paige is just walking them out, not really doing much. So I would really like to continue the feud between the two, but switch the belts, get Peyton Royce and Billy Kay against Paige on the mic, and let this continue a little bit more. So I'm gonna go with Kairi Sane and Asuka for sure.
Okay, so I guess I'll tell the truth here. Here's the truth. When Billy Kay and Peyton Royce get on the mic, I hit the mute button on my TV remote. They have the most screeching, hyper, high pitched, annoying voices I've ever heard. I don't know what it is. It drives me absolutely insane. So I hit the mute button. I can't stand hearing them. Something about it is just like nails on a chalkboard for me. I just cannot hear it. So I think that although Asuka and Kairi Sane are very good, I think you can make this feud last a little bit longer, which is what I think they will do. Which is why I have Peyton Royce and Billy Kay winning this match. I think they win. I think they win in a very sneaky, kind of dirty heel type way. Um, be a count out or DQ or pulling the tights to roll them up, something like that. Um, we're a little bit different. Do I think that they deserve Kairi Sane and Asuka? I think they deserve to win. I do not think they'll win. I think Kairi Sane will probably take the pin on it, but um, that's just my personal opinion. So do you have a finish that you have in mind, or
I
you
don't
just ready
care.
to
I mean, it's
predicting
gonna
here?
be that elbow. It's gonna be the elbow. That's all. That's fine. I just am kind of crapped out because it Kyrie Sane and Oscar both are forced into this tag team role because they're both decent enough good, and having them separate would destroy a lot of these characters that they've had either for a while or they're trying to build. And so, no offense, but Dana Brooke, Bailey's like not looking real good right now. Um, couple others in the girls division where it's ending up to where the girls, you can't give them an hour and a half of the show and then give the dudes an hour and a half of the show. Like, you can't do that. There's just too many good girls now. So they either need to have their own show instead of 205 Live, which I believe that people would watch, or they need
Yeah.
to get rid of some of these girls, and that's just what they got to do.
Yeah, I think that Bailey and Sasha are kind of fast tracking their way to getting released by the company.
Yeah.
Personally,
Well, and
I-
Natalia, she can get out of here too. I mean, no offense, I like her, but I don't enjoy watching her anymore. I would not enjoy her in the storyline. Where's Ruby Riot? Where's Sarah Logan? Where are my new girls that I really enjoy watching?
right.
It's just
I
it's
am personally a pretty big fan of Natalia, but the only problem with her is I feel like she's kind of like that. Like, for example, right now she's tagging with what's her name, Beth Phoenix, right? She's tagging with Beth Phoenix doing house shows and stuff like that. So it's kind of like what are you really doing? They don't have her in a storyline. She's not very good on the mic, so it's not like she can be a face and then a heel or something like that. So it's like I don't really know what they're doing with her, but I agree with you. Uh, she should be gone. Bailey, Sasha, they should all be gone. Um, just a lot of different things should be taking place right now. I mean, you got too many young female superstars that are doing great things that should be able to kind of take that center stage. You got to have Sarah Logan in there. You got to have Ruby Riot in there. Liv Morgan, whoever it is. You got to bring all these people in here. Like, you didn't spend the time to train them how to wrestle, to to work on their characters, their gimmicks, and all that stuff just for them to not be on TV. That's ridiculous. And so
let's
I think that
segue this talk right into the women's Money in the Bank. So, who
yeah.
are the entrants in the Money in the Bank ladder match?
Okay, women's money in the bank is Alexa Bliss, Naomi, Natalia, Dana Brooke, Bailey, Mandy Rose, Ember Moon, Carmella. One of the things I would say real quick is Dana Brooke has done a very good job just physically on her body from like a workout perspective. She used to be a little bit bigger, kind of how Natalia is, and you can tell over the last 6 months to a year that she's been like really dedicated to the gym, and she's a lot skinnier now than she
Well,
used to
she was
be.
a former bodybuilder, so
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
might have been
So
just thicker because that's that she might have just been maybe lifting too much heavy weight, and so maybe she's like going into toning. I don't know,
yeah,
but although she does look good, I am not a fan of her, and it's not that she's not. I'm not a fan of like what she's doing. I'm just like I would rather see somebody else in that position. So,
I just
and
don't
no,
know if the
scratch her off my
WWE
list.
is I just don't know if the WWE has ever really used her. She's been on a very low tier for
It
women's
was I
wrestling.
actually enjoyed her character with Apollo and fuck, I forget now, I forgot this, but where she was like the accountant
Yeah. She was
for
the statistician for Apollo Cruz and
I keep forgetting that
Titus
guy's name.
O'Neil. Titus O'Neil.
Titus Worldwide. That's what
He
it
was a
was.
Q dog. He's a whoo whoo. That
Yeah,
guy.
that was fun. I enjoyed that, and the fact that they didn't run with that a little more for her that was it.
I think
That
it has less to do with her and more to do with Apollo Cruz and Titus O'Neil.
Yeah, and
I
and
just don't
even
think they.
Apollo, he's another one where he's just phenomenal. They're just not using him, and it's
Right.
just not for me on TV. Get him somewhere else. Get him doing something else, and I'm sure I could
He's
be
like he's
interested.
like freakishly athletic, and
For he's a freak.
I think that's where the WWE is really missing. When he first came to the main card, they were trying to like slow build him so that they didn't feel like it was a Roman Reigns situation where they were just like pushing him and people get tired of him. I think that he's kind of like a hidden gem with WWE. And one of these days, they're going to use him and they're going to pull him out of the bag, and then everyone's going to be like, "Oh my God, he's so good."
Yeah,
But
or they'll
like
say
we
it's
know
too
that,
late.
obviously, or it's too late. Yeah, if they
Yeah.
do it too late.
Okay,
But
so
anyway, Alexa Bliss, Naomi, Natalia, Dana Brooke, Bailey, Mandy Rose, Ember Moon, Carmella.
so
Women's Money in the Bank.
Dana Brooke, Bailey, Natalia, and Naomi are fillers. Okay,
Correct.
Alexa Bliss. Who else? Oh,
Mandy.
Carmella filler.
No, Carmella is definitely not a filler.
Oh, to me, she's the bigger of all of the fillers. Obviously,
Or
her
she
name is
she
bigger.
might be the queen of the fillers. I would
Yeah,
put her
she's
at
the
the
queen
top
of
of
the
the fillers.
fillers. Yeah,
Okay.
because she can't win it again. There's no good storyline for her. It's all
Yeah.
about Mandy Rose,
Yeah.
Alexa Bliss, and
Ember Moon.
Ember Moon. That's it. So one of those three are gonna win it. And you can really what we should do is just break down the case for those three. I'll break down Alexa Bliss. She's my number one favorite. I She is the best. She's the best girl that they've got going. She's good in the ring. She's perfect on the mic. She's a great character to have as the title holder right now, especially because Raw's not doing too well. It's not a coincidence that she hasn't been doing a lot on Raw. So just because she got her boob job and then they tried to play it off as concussions, that's what I think has happened. She's recovering from her boob job surgery, which is fine with me. But I think that she is fantastic. She's actually my pick. She's my pick to win, because I feel like they need her more now than ever on the mic, feuding, and they can really hash out so many feuds with her, and she can continue and continue and continue to win the title until maybe next year at WrestleMania she drops it to, Ember Moon, and create that feud throughout the whole entire time. My problem is that she's probably not going to win the title, and so the Ember Moon feud with Alexa is great, but when you win the Money in the Bank, what is she going to do? She's going to go after SmackDown? No, she's going to go after Lacey Evans. A Lacey Evans and Alexa Bliss feud is all that and more. Okay, that is bigger than Bray Wyatt to me. Honestly, like I am so involved in an Alexa Bliss, Lacey Evans feud after Lacey wins the title earlier. That would be amazing. Also, what would be amazing is if they had the women's Money in the Bank match near the early, and the winner comes and tries to fucking cash in, or right then and there, and Becky 2 belts. That would be a perfect way for somebody to get the belt off Becky without it being without it destroying too many things, other than just creating a new storyline for a ton of people. So I went in on Alexa Bliss. What are your thoughts about Mandy and Ember?
So one thing I would say about Alexa Bliss real quick, I think Alexa Bliss is the favorite. If we were betting here, I would say that Alexa Bliss would be the favorite to win, which I completely understand. It all makes sense. Everything you said about Alexa Bliss makes sense. I think while you say boob job with the kind of area that they went with her being the host of WrestleMania and keeping her out of the ring for a little while, I think she was actually hurt. I mean, there's no way for either you or I to prove that, but one of the things I would say is, yeah, she's the favorite. So let's just go there. My pick for this match is Mandy Rose. I think Mandy Rose is in a prime position to kind of take that next step forward, to be that next female wrestler who is prepared to take on the mantle of being in the feuds and all that stuff. I mean, she's obviously got the look that Vince McMahon loves, which is, I mean, you know what it is. I don't need to say it.
I
Um,
do know what it is. Boing, boing, boing.
right. So she's got the look, the the Trish Stratus look is what
She
she
has the
has.
it factor. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
And so she's got that appeal and everything. So um I think that this is her time to step up. And if she doesn't step up now, then I don't feel like they're really going to push her after this. So I'm
What's
hoping for
interesting,
the sake
real
of
quick,
her that it happens.
what's interesting about if she wins, they could go in a really nice feud um with oh gosh, I just forgot her tag team partner's name. Sonya Deville, my bad.
Right.
She could go in a real nice feud. They kind of set that up on SmackDown. If you watch SmackDown, Sonya Deville hit a really nice move on Asuka, and it was like Sonya Deville's ready to get the pin for the win or whatever, and Mandy goes, "No, me, I got this. No, me." Goes in there for the pin and gets rolled up 1, 2, 3. And if Mandy wins Money in the Bank, you can see the divide between her and Sonya based off Mandy thinking she's better. So that's a partial feud to deter her from cashing in, and then they go about her cashing in
Well,
later on.
not just that, but like if you remember back to a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, something like that, Mandy Rose was in a singles match on Raw or SmackDown, or whatever it was. I can't remember. Um, and Sonya Deville was down there trying to help her, and it ultimately got in the way and cost Mandy Rose the match. And Mandy Rose was at that time she was building her momentum, so her momentum was like, man, I got this in a one-on-one match. I don't need your help, and so like I'm with you. Like I feel like that feud is just on its way, and really would not mind seeing that. Kind of like let's say Mandy Rose wins, right? She's got the briefcase now, and then she starts a feud that lasts a few months with Sonya Deville, and they handle that, and then and as all that is going on, you forget that she's the one that has the briefcase because she hasn't been trying to use it. She's been dealing with this feud, and then which gives her the perfect opportunity to cash in at a pay-per-view or on a regular show. So
Yeah,
that's
so
my
then
pick.
it
So
leaves us with Ember Moon.
right.
Unfortunately, Ember, um, you're amazing. We all love you, and I think everybody loves you. I think you are the perfect AEW candidate where you could let your contract expire in WWE and you would be way better outside of WWE. If WWE doesn't decide to use Ember Moon, um, they got one more shot with her because she's so new. But right now, they could really build her by this victory. Not only does she beat a surging Mandy Rose, a coming back Alexa, ready to get back into it, but now she's going to go after the title and she can have her own title chase. But if they choose not to do it, then they can do this next year with her and they can wait to build her character and all that. And that's fine. But if they don't do it within the next couple years, Ember, let your contract expire, go to AEW and be like one of the best girls there because you would be making a shiz ton of money and living out your dream. Dun 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 dun. Here we are. This is what you've all been waiting for. The men's Money in the Bank ladder match, where I feel that there's not a lot of men in this match that are fillers. I mean, there is. I mean, I don't think Baron's going to win, but it's like WWE loves Baron Corbin. He could win it. So run me down the list of entrants here.
Okay, so you got Ricochet, Drew McIntyre,
Yep,
Baron
yep,
Corbin, Finn
yep,
Balor,
yep,
Ali,
yep,
Andrade, Sami
yep,
Zayn, Randy Orton.
yep.
If
Oh,
you were to pick a single guy in that list that I just gave you, and you had to label one of them as a filler,
Randy
which
Orton.
oh my god, dude. So here's the thing, right? So if you look at Randy Orton and like let's say you were on his Wikipedia page, right? And you were like, "Oh, he's like a 13-time world champion. He's a 3-time intercontinental champion." And you start naming all his accolades, right? It would be so disrespectful to a wrestling fan if you were like Randy Orton's a truther, or he's a truther. I A Randy Orton truther would say it is so disrespectful for you to say that Randy Orton is a filler. He is just over the years, I feel like we've
You could
wrestling
call
fans.
Sami Zayn a filler. You could
No, I
call
don't think
Sami
you
Zayn a
could.
filler. But the fact that he went over on Braun Strowman, and even though he's not going to win, Sammy's not going to win, right? So would
Yeah,
you call a filler someone who's definitely not going to win? Well, to me, a filler is a jobber. And in
right.
my eyes, like, there's no reason Randy's going to win. There could be a reason Sammy could win and all this stuff, but Sammy, the reason why to me he's not a filler is because I think he might be the reason that Drew McIntyre wins. Maybe he helps Drew for helping him get or something, and then they go together. Who knows? I mean, there could be a lot of things that go on with that, but I think that there's only really, honestly, two clear and away guys that would just shoot to the moon by this victory, and that being Ricochet and Drew McIntyre. What do you
So,
feel about that?
so real quick, the only thing I would say about Randy Orton is Randy Orton is the one wrestler in this match that doesn't make sense. And the reason I kind of started with that question was because if you remember back in the day, they said, "Hey, John Cena carried this company. Like he was the guy for that whole in between. What would you say, Matt? 2008 to 2015,
His
John
own
Cena was the
era.
guy."
Yeah, I mean that he created an era of wrestling. It was the oh shit, what was it called? I forget. It's called something like this
Like the
era.
PG era.
Yeah, but it's like it's something that's related to John Cena. It's a name. It's a name for it. So yeah, he
Mhm.
had an era and he created that era. But
But
yeah, that's
so
not Randy Orton.
here's the yeah. So here's the thing. John Cena carried the WWE during that time. And if you look back in the history books and you looked at so who was John Cena feuding with most of the time? Most of the time it was Randy Orton. And that's how Randy Orton has accumulated so many championships over the years. Is he has feuded with John Cena so many times. It's like nonstop. Those guys have so much chemistry; it's ridiculous. And so you kind of look at it, and like I said, a Randy Orton truther would say, like, "Oh, this guy is the 13-time world champion. He doesn't deserve to be labeled as a filler." But if you looked at the card of, or not the card, but the names that are in this men's Money in the Bank ladder match, um, Randy Orton's the one name that doesn't really fit with the rest of them. It's almost like I would be more comfortable with Randy Orton in this match if Braun Strowman was still in this match, because um, Randy Orton's just not as like high flying and athletic as some of the other ones. Not that Baron Corbin is very high flying and athletic, but I would just say that that's kind of that filler situation. But to move on, I would say that Ricochet is my overarching favorite in this match. I think this is the type of match that was built for him, for the high spots, for the high flying, for the acrobatics, the ability to do everything that this match requires. I think that he's the obvious favorite, and that is my pick to win this match. I don't know if it'll actually happen, but I'm really hopeful that it does happen.
I'm definitely hopeful that it happens for Ricochet too. I mean, my only problem with it is that he's brand new. He doesn't need the win now. And but it could, I mean, I want him to win too. I mean, that's not my pick, but I want him to win. But it would be kind of a really cool thing, super cool, is if he did win it and then he challenged Finn Balor for the Intercontinental title, like, and then decided to like kind of rise his way up. And that would be an interesting kind of turn to that whole thing, and still allow everybody to be strong and feud for the rest of the year. And he says, come on, Finn, the fans want this, and this is what that would be a big deal. Even though you can have that feud anyway, I just feel like having the Money in the Bank and kind of swerving everybody would be kind of cool. But Drew McIntyre needs this win. I feel like he has just been doing so much work and not getting rewarded. Baron Corbin's in the match. Sami Zayn's in the match. So he's got two allies in the match. Braun Strowman's out of the match. And so obviously that's kind of a feud that is there, that you can play back again and kind of wait for the Seth Rollins Drew McIntyre match. Or it's a way to get Drew, maybe he wants to go after Kofi, maybe it gets him a little bit more open, gets his character out there to a little bit different audience as far as seeing him play by play. But Drew McIntyre's my pick. I feel like, again, kind of like with the women, this is kind of it for him. If he doesn't get this match, I'm not interested in his feud with Seth Rollins. I could be interested in it though, again, but it's just like, well, why don't you just give him the freaking briefcase? Why don't you just, play it and make it and write for him and give him good situations that he might be able to come out on top. And I he had such a great opportunity, and this is it. And then Ricochet will have a great outlook, and Randy Orton will be the filler. So anyway, I think this has been a great cast. Money in the Bank. It's going to be a good pay-per-view. I will not be watching live because I will be attending Without a Cause here locally, which is a independent wrestling promotion. You have your MLW champion Filthy Tom Lawler, who is going to be one of the headlining acts, and so I am very excited to watch that. I think this is going to be just a phenomenal show out of talent, both independently and more major names. And so that's where I will be, but I'll be watching it, and we will be coming back to speak about it at a future date. So Michael, what do you got to sign us off here?
Uh, just to kind of finish up, like, I would just say that if you are in, like, understand that Matt is in the Everett, Washington area, just outside of Seattle, and that I'm in Texas. But growing up in Washington, I would say that if you are a wrestling fan and you are in Washington, that and you're specifically in the Everett area or close to it, hit up Matt. Like, for real, he could direct you into the right spot to get some tickets to that Without a Cause show. Go see Without a Cause. If you've never seen wrestling on the independent scene, it is very crowd involved. The crowd kind of is very vocal and stuff like that. So in here in Texas, I go to some independent wrestling shows, and I would just say that if you get the opportunity, really go. I think that you will love it. I know that the independent wrestling shows that I've been to that I really, really like here. So if there is one there, like Without a Cause in Everett, you should definitely go see it, check it out, see what's going on. Um, it is very good. So the only thing that I would say, just to finish up here, we are the Flex Network. We are on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. Come find us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our Apple or Spotify podcasts. Um, find us, like us, rate us, all that good stuff. And then, yeah. What about you, Matt?
That's it,
This
brothers.
is the Flex Network.
Yes, yes, it
This
is. All right. Thank you, everybody. You have a great night. We are the Flex Network.